In this video, I'm going to show some examples of how to change fractions to percents. Question 1 is what is 5/6 written as a percent, and we want to round the answer to the nearest percent. This is an example of a fraction that we can't easily find an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to change this fraction into a division problem, because fractions are just division. And we're going to divide numerator divided by denominator. Now, 6 will not go into 5. However, I can put the decimal right after the 5 because that's where the decimal belongs. And I can put a 0 in the tens place. I haven't changed this number at all. That's still 5 divided by 6. And now I can keep dividing. I'm going to bring my decimal straight up. And 6 goes into 50 8 times. And I have a leftover of 2. Now I can keep adding zeros. I'm not really adding zeros, but I can keep placing zeros into empty place values and keep my division going. So now 6 goes into 20 3 times. So I'm going to have to extend my bar here. And I can see now that I'm going to end up, if I place another 0 here in the thousands place, I'm going to end up now with 20 again. And it's going to be 3 times. And you can see that this is just going to repeat over and over again. So to show that this is a repeating decimal, we put a bar above the repeating parts of it. Matter of fact, I could have just written it like this. 0.83 and the 3 is repeating. But in this case, we want to round our answer to the nearest percent. Percent means out of 100. So all I care about is the first 2 place values because that'll be out of the 100th place. But this 3 right here is going to tell me whether I need to round that up or not. So I have 83.3 repeating forever percent. But I want to round this to the nearest percent. So I'm just going to round this to 83% because that's not enough to round it up to 84%. Choice A. Question 2 is 9/20 written as a percent. Now this one is one that I can fairly easily change to out of a fraction, an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. So 20 goes into 1,000 by multiplying by 5. So I'm just going to multiply the numerator by that same value. 9 times 5 is 45. So now we have 45 hundredths, which is equal to 45%. For question 3, we're back to a fraction that's not going to be an easy one to find an equivalent with a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. So we're going to divide numerator divided by denominator. I'm going to go ahead and place my decimal right after the whole number and then put zeros in the first 3 decimal place values because I want to round to the nearest percent. Bring the decimal straight up and then go ahead and start division. 16 does not go into 1 or 13. It goes into 130. I'm going to estimate maybe 8 times. And I'll check this. That looks like it's going to be 128, so it is 8 times. And then I have 20. 16 will go into 21 time. And then 40. 16 goes into 40 twice. Now, I could keep dividing here and keep changing 13/16 to a decimal, but for this problem, I only need to change this to the nearest percent. So I'm going to look at the first 2 decimal place values, 81. That tells me that this is 81 and then a fraction of a percent, so 81.2%. 0.2 is not halfway to 82%, so rounding to the nearest percent, 13/16 is 81%.